Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Blacklist. Another great episode. In this episode, we had the task force going up against blacklisters known as the Invisible Hand. It's still kind of weird from time to time. Like, the fact is that Samar's the one that has to go visit Reggie. We're so used to Liz being the in-between. It's something I haven't commented on before, but it's still a little weird to see the task force working without Liz. I don't know. I mean, because the last time we saw something like that was in season 3 and when she was on a run and when they thought she was dead and everything. So there's that. But still, under these circumstances, she's still around and everything, but she's not working with the task force. It's just weird to think about. But nevertheless, this group is a very interesting group because they go after bad people, but not just like bad people, more so people who are morally gray. It's like, oh, what you do is not illegal because it's in the realms of legal, but you use that as an opportunity to do some very, very shady, morally crummy things. Like one guy, the guy at the beginning, Tim, it's like, oh yeah, he manufactures guns for like stupid dirt cheap prices, and it's like you're putting guns out there and making it a lot more accessible for a lot of bad people to get their hands on it, type of thing. So it's like you're doing something legal, sure, but you're doing a very scummy thing. And so their whole thing is about kind of getting those people who kind of skate that line. Because basically, they've done it to a lot of people, but for them more specifically, it revolves around the fact is going after one particular person, and that's this lady named Anna Hopkins, because basically this all deals with some of their targets. One of their targets in the past was a lawyer, also a guy that was a judge, because basically they all revolved around this company that existed in their hometown that was basically throwing toxic waste everywhere. And basically everyone that grew up in that area got super sick and died, which include a lot of the Invisible Hands, like each of their members, like family and friends died. And some of them in particular, kind of the one who's kind of leads the charge, his name is Steven. Him in particular, he's kind of sick because he's got like bone cancer, just like his parents did, and his parents died from it. So it's a situation of just like trying to pay back these people who screwed over not just his life, but everyone's lives. Which it's that situation that leaves you conflicted because you're like, man, you shouldn't have gone and done what you did. But at the same time, it's like, especially when later on when Steven kind of admits like why everything happened, it's like, we did this because we tried to go our separate ways, try to become successful people, try to right the world. But then it's like nothing we did really mattered because the world continued to just be a crappy place. I mean, Anna kind of tried to make up for things by quitting her job at that place that caused all that toxic waste, and then tried to join something to kind of make up for her past sins and everything. But it's just because like the lawyer, the judge, and Anna kind of settle things, and so it's just kind of like they wanted to brush everything under the rug, and like a lot of people got sick and died. And it's like you didn't do the right, you didn't, like, yeah, you're trying to like do the right thing now, but even then it's not like you're trying to do the right thing. You're just running away from your problems, trying to clear your soul, essentially. You want to clear your own consciousness. It don't pretend like it's something like noble, like, oh, you're trying to really compensate. You're just trying to make yourself feel better, because it's like she hasn't been back in the country since she left. So that's why they're going after her now, because, well, they only came up with this plan because there was amongst the group there were 6 people, but one of the 6 he ended up dying, and the remaining 5 came up with this plan at his funeral to like kind of get justice. It's like, we don't really care what the world, a better way to handle things, how a better way of trying to fix the world or whatever, because the wrestler's like, oh, there has to be, I have to believe that there's something else we could do to fix it. And it's like, I don't care anymore. Like, Steven's like, I'm going to die, so it doesn't matter to me. I just know that we made a difference and people will remember that, and that maybe it will kind of start a revolution of sorts. It's not exactly what they were saying, but I guess you could see it being like a situation of people would be inspired to kind of, know that we stood up to fight what was happening. Because it doesn't matter much to Steven, because no matter what, he's dying. So, and that's something that comes up too, because one of the, I think, what did the dude named Bobby? For him, he got super pissed because Steven didn't tell them like, oh yeah, the cops found us out and everything. And it's like, well, he didn't say anything because he's like, I knew you guys would back out, because it's like, but it's like, yeah, but it should have been our choice to tell you whether we were going to stay or not, because each one of them had their own families. But Steven's like, the fact of the matter is, you're going to die eventually. You might not be sick now, but eventually you're going to be sick, like everyone else is sick, like I'm sick. But it's like, you have less to fight for. We have families that we need to care about. Like, one of the members ended up kind of like telling the FBI what's up, because it's like, they pointed out, it's like, oh, what about your 2 little girls? You might be able to kind of be able to see them outside of jail if you help us. So they do have their families to think about. It seems like in Steven's case, he's the only one that probably, to my understanding, at least from what we saw, he might be one of the only ones who might not have had a family. Some of the others might not have had. There's at least 2 we know that have extent, like other families of their own. But, you know, maybe that's more so why, like, the vendetta was even stronger with him, because he had because he had like a time clock on him. So, like I say, it's something that leaves you conflicted. It's still wrong, but you understand why they did it. You can even tell from Wrestler that he even, like, it's not like he's going hard on him either, because like Steven's nose is bleeding and Wrestler pulls out a tissue and hands it to him. So it's a situation of like, you kind of understand it. Also, really quickly, I love that it's kind of becoming a running gag in the show too. It's like, you know, Haram's piecing everything together, and you have Samara smiling at him, and then she looks at Wrestler, and Wrestler's like, yes, I know, he's adorable, isn't he? And just like, I love it, because she's just like, look at him. Isn't he the best? Oh, like, it's so, I love them being a couple and everything. They're super cute and adorable. And just like her being like, he's so cool, right? Tell me he's not cool. You can't say he's not cool, because he's super cool. He's adorable. He's amazing. It's just like, it's so cute when you see Samara like that. Just because, like, who Samara is, she's kind of like the stoic badass, but then you see her have those moments like that, and you're like, oh, look at you, Samara, being so cute and adorable. Nevertheless. But what kind of took me by surprise was, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because Reddington does this all the time, because when he wants when he's helping take down a blacklist, usually, not always, but typically he gets something out of it. In this particular case, it was about someone known as the Toy Maker. I was like, oh man, this is going to be setting off for another episode. Oh no, we're literally dealing with that this episode. That took me by surprise. I was like, so I was like, the Toy Maker. So he's a bad guy. He supplied him with the weapons. I was like, oh no, he supplied Navarro with the eye. Like, he's the one that kind of set up the tech and everything like that. I was like, oh, okay. So that was interesting. I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because, well, I'll kind of tie it in with the other side of the episode, and that deals with Anthony. And I love Anthony's whole situation. God, Anthony using the post office and everything, you know, running the you know, situation him and Reddington set up. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rob this place. And he ended up stealing like a crap ton of cocaine, but it belonged to this dude named Big Willie. And then Big Willie, you know, Anthony lied and said it was this other big drug dealer named Momo. And then it turns out, you know, Reddington's like, okay, we need to tell him the truth, because Anthony needed extra money because he's dating someone. He needed to fix his whole situation. And he was like, yes, I know it's stupid, but come on, you know, it's such an interesting reason why he needed the money. And then, you know, Reddington talks to Big Willie, and it's like, oh, it's too late, because he'd already tracked down Momo. They killed him, and there's just finished up slicing his body with a chainsaw, and it's just like, and it's literally all Anthony's fault, because he lied and set things in motion like that, which turns into a little bit of a drug war, which we don't know if that's necessarily settled by the end of the episode, but I do think it's kind of nice that Red ended up giving, because, you know, Anthony needed to be operated on after Reddington shot him, which that sucks. But hey, he got the operation he wanted in the end. It's like, oh, good on you. It's like, oh, you take care of that girlfriend of yours. But once again, Reddington doesn't do anything for, you know, just out of the goodness of his heart. Like, him helping Anthony was also about him talking to Big Willie, because it's like, okay, so I need your help. You run in a drug game. I need you to help me so we can track down and go after the Nash. Because they run in a drug game and Big Willie runs in a drug game, it'd be the easiest way to kind of get closer to them in that sense. But then Big Willie brings up something interesting. He's like, oh yeah, like, I have this feeling like, you know, the reason why no one can take them down is because there's secrets on the streets that basically they got cops working for them. And the moment that came across my mind, I'm like, Singleton. I didn't even have to wait to the end of the episode. I knew it had to be Singleton. The way he was pushing so hard with this whole Tom investigation, and with Liz, it just didn't sit right with me, because he's up there threatening her. It's like, oh, I know you had something to do with Navarro. And it's like, I don't know how you got that evidence out. It's like, he's pushing so hard with her. Like, hey, I understand you're trying to solve Tom's murder and stuff like that. But it's just like, it just seemed like the compassion went away of like, oh, I understand what you're going through. You must be mad. Like, I feel like that went away and he started treating her very hostile. And I was like, huh. Like, I mean, Liz has kind of been in this situation before because, you know, our local cop came after her for the murder of another cop. That was during that whole season 2 situation when she had Tom locked up and Tom ended up killing, that cop that I think he was undercover, just he was off duty, but nevertheless, that whole situation, it was kind of similar, but at the same time, I was like, it felt different. Turns out to be the case because it turns out that the freaking Nash aren't protected by cops because they are cops. This whole like group and organization is probably run by dirty cops because it turns out Ian his freaking self is a cop. I was like, that's a good twist. I was thinking like Singleton's just one of the cops on the payroll. It's like, no, because Ian himself is one. He's got a badge. It's like, so that's probably why he's not as worried about Liz as he could be, because for him, he's got a safety net because it's probably not just cops who are part of this. There are probably people high enough in position in this whole thing too. It's like, I mean, they're a part of this whole criminal world, so I guess that's why they went after this, you know, the bones, because they knew it would be something that they could sell that information to make good bucks. They are crooked cops and everything. Not unless they're taking orders from someone, which it kind of seems more so like it's, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're at the top of the food chain or someone else is above this. Kind of get the feeling like there's someone else involved in this whole situation, which really quickly is like, you don't think this is some I don't know. I don't think it is. I was like, you don't think it's some weird twisted way this is connected to her grandfather, which she met this episode, but I'll get to that. I doubt he's the one behind it, but like, just throwing that out there as a weird, strange, not possible possibility, but it, you know, I'm still putting it out there. Because I just feel like they can't be the top of this, but maybe they are. Like I said, they're just greedy people who are part of this criminal world and they found something they could take advantage of. But because the thing is, like, how would they know what to look for is why I'm saying, like, they can't be the top of this. Whoever set them to get that has to be someone that knows about what that case is and what's significant about it. That's how I feel. But hey, maybe Ian just knows more than he lets on. So, but now this means that because Liz ends up coming back to work because it's like, well, she needs to come back because she realizes that the people behind this probably have a badge and it'd be a lot easier to bust them. Like she says, take them down. I don't know whether she means kill them or not. I mean, it's like she still wants revenge and everything, but to be fair, at least she's going about it with the badge and she's back with the task force because that means that the rest of the team will be there to kind of reel her in particular wrestler. But it might be a situation that, you know, Liz might not be quite ready to come back to work yet because it might be a situation of what's happened to her, like everything she's been through and done subsequently since Tom's death might be, she's kind of a different person right now, so she might not be in the right mindset. So we might see a situation of her crossing the line a lot more than maybe she would have in the past, you know. So I think that's something we should be on the lookout for going forward, but we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, amongst anyone, like Samara can understand the most of like why she's doing what she does, like what she needs to do, like why she didn't need a badge. But like I said, maybe having her badge back and not wanting to drag the team down with everything that she's doing, maybe it'll kind of keep her in line for a while. Which is, like I said, I've just talked about it earlier about how weird it is without her being part of the task force, and like, oh, now she is. So it's just kind of interesting. But also tying this all back in is the fact is that she did go meet her grandfather because basically she looked through Tom's note, which apparently Tom, I mean, not that we know of, but it doesn't seem like Tom actually met with Dominic, her grandfather. He was maybe he was going to at some point. I wonder like how he even, like, I don't remember, how did he ever he got it from, God, I feel like I remember him actually getting the name Oleander. I just don't remember where he ended up getting that from. I'm completely blank. Was it Nick or something? I don't remember. Or was it Kate who gave him the name Oleander? I don't remember who gave that to him. The moment Hera was like, oh yeah, it's a Russian operative. I was like, is it going to be? And then she shows up at the door. I was like, it's her grandfather, isn't it? It's like, lo and behold. Which he doesn't tell her anything. He's pretending like, oh yeah, I knew Katerina, just like, oh, we were, yeah, obviously we were both part of that whole Russian spy situation. Obviously he's not claiming to be like Oleander, the top operative that he is, which the fact of the matter is, it turns out he is. So like, he is a pretty like, because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like I do remember the name Oleander being referenced, but I don't, if you remember, let me know in the comments down below because I don't remember where it was. I remember hearing that. I'll probably look it up after this, trying to remember where I heard the name from. But nevertheless, because I don't remember if it was like last season or this season, but I definitely remember someone mentioning the name Oleander. I feel like it might have been Kate that I'm remembering that from. But like I said, I'll look it up myself. But they're sitting down talking about Katrina and everything. It's like, oh man, you look like her. She even brought you around like at work around the time you were 3 or something. Which I'm wondering is that was, like, was he still an operative at the time that Katarina was around and everything? Because a little bit we saw Katarina's past, like her around with her and the whole Red situation, as well as her and Kate. We never saw or heard anything about her dad last season, in any of that. So I don't know whether it's like he was already in the States at that time, or, he had asylum here in the US, or, was he just kind of like not around, like what that whole situation was. But it was kind of interesting because Liz does bring up Red and he's like, I don't want to talk about him. But he does go like, the fact of the matter is, I don't know what happened to Katarina. No one really knows. But whatever it is, someone is probably out there trying to do whatever they can to keep it a secret. So now Liz might have the idea that whatever it is that Red's hiding might be connected to her mom, which it seems more and more likely. Like from the very beginning, it's like whatever it is, it has to be connected to Katarina because that's the biggest secret for Liz. That's the biggest enigma in her life. It's like, what about my mom? It's like, oh, apparently she killed herself. But other people are saying like, no, she's still alive. Like no one knows. There's whispers here and there, but no one knows for sure. If there is anyone that would know, it would be Reddington, but it's something that he does not plan to talk about. Once again, with whatever that situation is in that suitcase, because obviously there was, theories of like, oh, is that her mom in a suitcase? But then it's like, well, does he not want Liz to know that her mom is dead? Or is it supposed to be a situation? Once again, because like whatever this bone situation is, like, because I feel like if it was connected to Katarina, why wouldn't Kate come out and tell Liz immediately? So that's why I'm like, if it was her bones, I've said that before, like Kate would have said something to Liz, I feel like, especially when she was trying to destroy and undermine everything that Red was doing, especially trying to get Red away from Liz with what she was trying to do, dismantling his whole operation. So I don't know. I'm curious to find out like what that is all about. What secrets are you hiding, Red? I mean, especially because Liz is, getting closer and closer because he tells to Dominic and he's like, yeah, she came and I didn't tell her anything, but you need to tell her the truth. It's just like, but you can see Red is panicking because it's like she's getting closer and closer to the truth because she's already that much closer because she met with her grandfather. Granted, not knowing that's her grandfather. Because whatever secrets, like, he's keeping them because Red wants them kept too. So, because even he's like, tell her the truth, but Red's still not ready because whatever the truth may hold, like he's afraid he'll lose Liz forever. The truth comes out. So I don't know what to make of it all. So, like I said, I am curious to see because, like, obviously, like Red made this whole situation to kind of meet up with Big Willie to kind of help him go after the Nash group. So the question is, like, is that something we'll see going forward, him kind of running in that world, or did he kind of get the information he needed from Willie? Because even Big Willie was like, you really want to go up against them? It seemed like even he had his hesitations about it. So I don't know if it's something he's going to be willing to work with, even someone of Red's caliber, to try and make that happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Sadly, we will be waiting a while to kind of get any potential answers for what I brought up in this episode because the Blacklist is taking a break. I finally found out what it was. I was like wondering why everything's taking a break around the time. It's like, oh yeah, because of the Olympics. So the Blacklist will be returning on February 28th. So it'll be taking like a 3-week hiatus, like a lot of stuff is recently. So do keep that in mind. But I'm super excited to see what happens when the Blacklist returns with all these amazing developments and see how everything plays out. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good